First thing is, this is going to be a bit of a ramble, and I know this up front. I'm going to try and just be a stream of consciousness coming out with words, and let's see if I can keep up. I attuned to a higher state and got into my body. And I'm exploring body right now as our neighbor aspect. If we spend a lot of time around ego and mind, especially in between the two, then we should visit our neighboring aspects, the other aspects that's kind of closest to us, as opposed to being so far on the opposite sides of the spectrum. And so if you get into your body, you just start anywhere you want. Anywhere you want. You can just start on your breath. You can start listening to your heartbeat. You can start by feeling the ground underneath your feet. You can start by focusing on your posture, on if you have a tilt in your pelvis, if you're able to manipulate just that pelvic area and twist that and realize, oh, my posture is bad because my pelvis is normally resting in an outward state like this, is that the posterior tilt where your posterior is tilting out, and an anterior or interior tilt is pulling the pelvis the other way. And I don't know the correct terminology. I've just heard them by people who actually know. So I'm getting it all wrong, I bet. But everything is about quietening your mind, which is hard to do right now as I'm talking. It's using the mind language center, and quieten your mind and just listen to all the forms of communication that your body is sending you all the time, and you're just not listening. So the process, whatever it takes, get into your body and listen to those signals, because those are not to be confused as the thoughts of imagination and creation and grace. Maybe we have different aspects of ourselves that all use thoughts as a way to communicate to us, and by us it's none of those aspects in particular. It's the awareness behind those aspects. That's that's our true self, this awareness, this watcher. And so all of these aspects that we play and get enthralled into, like we just become more of that aspect. And so we're blinded and deafened. We can't hear the forms of communication from our other aspects. They're kind of like, we can't hear them, we can't feel them. So then when you tune into a higher state and you are able to access your body's aspect, and you really step into, you could even imagine it as, your body is just this shell, this machine, this like biological suit, right? And you being just the awareness of no aspect, you choose to step into your body as if it were a suit. And then you can just listen to whatever sounds are going on around you, like the ticking of a clock. And you can use that to start, in a way, dancing. But it's all it is just you imagining that you are this formless thing called awareness. You step into this physical suit called your body, and you're just manipulating it as if it were a puppet, as if it were a machine that has all these different parts and cogs and joints, and and the more you learn about the human anatomy, the more it will feel like that. Like you are just, I'm reminded I'm in this biological machine where all his muscles do all this stuff, and every time you twist and move and bend and stretch, you can feel all of those different parts of your body. And that's further instilling the awareness of being inside your body. And that all throughout the day, we're not listening to our bodies at all. It would have to be an extreme level of communication using something like pain or nausea or just jolting your body with energy. These are ways that your body communicates to you in various moments throughout the day. But I think those are like the really extreme forms of communication that your body has to use, because it's been shouting at you all day long. Your body's always communicating things with you. It's just you can't hear it. You're not listening because you're not in your body. You as awareness, you as this form of, formless entity of consciousness who we've yet to really understand. The awareness, the watcher, the self. When we start, it's like we're loading up a new game. Imagine that. Imagine that your soul is just loading up a game to play. And we've been playing this ego mind game predominantly. And if you follow this concept of you're attuning to a higher frequency, then you're able to really play another game, live another experience, and you can choose to go in and out of that. And so if you choose to get inside your body and play this game, right, then your senses come alive when before you weren't really listening, you weren't really feeling, you weren't really reacting to. And then when you step inside your body, a lot of the senses start reminding you, look at that, listen to that, feel that, breathe it in, smell it, touch it. Your senses are of your body. They're the way that it is able to interact with the external world and the internal world. And it's a way that your body communicates to you. Your body is communicating to you constantly, using its senses and using thought forms as well. But really, it's communicating to you the best way it can is through all of its internal processes. It uses tools like vibrations and temperature and pain scale and nausea and all of these different things, and it communicates them via the body, obviously. But if you're not listening to your body, if you're not in your body, and it can't communicate to you, it can't get through to you, you're not freaking listening, then it'll just carry on trying to communicate and finding various ways. And if anything in your body is getting to a dire state, it will find a way to get your attention if it really needs it. And so if you give yourself a small injury, for example, if you know it because you saw it happen and you're aware that it happened, then your body's just like, yeah, there's the pain. But whether you know it or not, right? Imagine you cut yourself on a razor and you didn't even feel it, so you didn't even know it. And then soon there's a delayed effect and you're going, what? Why am I in pain? And you feel an area of your body is giving you signals, and it's like, I've just cut myself, and because you go and investigate, because your body is screaming to you there. It's like, hello, we just got damaged. I've been shouting to get your attention. You haven't been listening to me. And then you realize, like, how did that happen? Well, if you weren't in your body and listening out for your body enough, because a lot of these things can be what we might see as subconscious. We take things for granted. We go, well, I without my conscious awareness, I'm breathing all the time, and my heart is pumping all the time. And those two systems and blinking and everything else that your body is doing automatically for you 24/7. This body that you've just stepped into, this is running so flawlessly 24/7. And it's trying to do its best to be self-maintaining, right? Your body wants to look after itself. It wants to move. It wants to be very useful for the user. Your body wants all of these things, and it doesn't want pain, and it doesn't want discomfort, and it doesn't want suffering. It just wants to be functional. Your body is the best machine that we have an option for right now. Like, these are top A grade machines, and they're capable of so much. It's just, if you don't step into your body and really listen to what it needs, it will tell you exactly what it needs. And you don't mistake the communication for habit, which is attached to other aspects. That's not, the body can start craving something. I guess, yeah. That's a strange one. That line of thinking, that concept feels like it's been commandeered by something. If you have craving, if your body feels, if it feels like every cell in your body is craving something, and I think that form has been like maybe chaos, or maybe ego has commandeered that form of communication that your body usually uses, the signals, the sensation. Maybe it commandeers it, and it starts shouting out what it wants, whichever aspect it is. Say it's chaos. Anyway, the point is, get into your body. get into your body. Attune to a higher state really helps you get into your body, because it's more towards that side of the spectrum. So do what it takes. For me, I've been inspired by the ticking clock that's in the room where I am standing now. And I got into my body, and I just couldn't not hear this ticking clock. And this ticking clock was something that my senses were picking up on and pushing to the forefront of my awareness, my consciousness. And so the ticking of this clock every second, it's quite poetic. And it's very rhythmic and constant, and it represents every second, every second, every second, every second, every second. Every second of your day, every second of every day, every second of ever. In this experience, we have imprisoned ourselves within the structure of what we call time. And what we've just been doing is looking at the largest common denominator of regularly measured time, this concept. And we looked at the stars, and we looked at the planets, and we looked above, and we looked below, and we just looked to try and find some forms that we can say is a reliable constant. And then we tried to measure the gaps in between certain milestones through observation, and we created time by just getting one measurement and then, I guess, chunking it up, dividing using maths and fracturing things into small equal-sized pieces, and then breaking those down and down and down. And then, we have the seconds, and that's what we have. We have time. We have all these seconds and minutes and hours and years and expectations. And so that's quite stressful. It's just one of these facts that we now know and believe and live by. And it's hard to step out of this awareness of time, but we do that quite successfully. Step out of this awareness of time and then back into the awareness of time. Oh, time constraints, deadlines, pressure. I've got to do that, all within time. And it's such a race, and it's so stressful. And our lives are stressful. And we just want to be happy and content. And why can't they just do that? And why can't I just have this? And And then we're back out of our bodies and into our minds and into our egos. And that's where we live. A lot of the time. Too much of the time. Because time is this whole world that we live in as mind and ego. We're just so consumed in this aspect, between these aspects. And we're kind of locked in to everything just being so time-driven and time-focused and egocentric. And we're using this powerhouse that we have called our minds, our brains, this fascinating organ that seems to have godlike abilities, but is restricted with the rest of the hardware, the body and the ego. The ego is trying to control everything and understand everything, and it's using the power of the mind. The ego is using the power of the mind to, it's like infinity stones. Although the colors, I'm sure, don't correlate. But ego's using the power of the mind and trying to dominate, trying to control, trying to understand. All for self, really. But the mind is very obliging, because the mind just wants to think. Feed it anything, give it puzzles, make it figure out how to solve something, give it a complex mathematical equation or a social dilemma. Imagine, having to try and understand all the social dynamics around you, because it means so much to ego. Because you can gain a lot of leverage if you understand social dynamics and you climb the social ladder and you use your mind to have some wit and imagination, and you know how to stand for your own in an argument. You know how to give a witty retort if people try and bring you down and give you snide remarks and take the mick and poke fun. And we learn all these things when we're kids, how to play this kind of social game, and that's using the power of the mind as well. And so our minds are whatever we feed it, whatever we focus on. Our mind is just going to help us. Our minds are a fantastic tool, but it can also have a will of its own. The mind is another aspect, don't forget. And so if you just let it, your whole awareness can put all of its resources. It can just step into your mind and stay locked in there. and the mind is locked in with time, and ego feels all the pressure of it and the urgency of just feeling good about itself. The ego doesn't want to feel sad or hurt or inferior. The ego obviously wants to feel really positive, good about itself, and it feels a lot of the emotions are hard to deal with, and so all of this is taking awareness, the soul's awareness, into living in these aspects of the mind and the ego and all of that journey. And we're just in it all the time. And so, if awareness goes, enough's enough, pause life, listen to that, think of nothing else, mind, shut up, ego, sit down, listen to that. Listen to the sounds of the air, the wind, the birds. Listen to the sounds that your feet make, whatever you're wearing, if you're wearing shoes or if it's just your bare feet. Because awareness is going, listen to your body now. Listen to your body. Listen to your senses. Open your eyes and see. Step out of your mind. Quiet that. Hush now. Now is time for your body. Step into your body now. Listen to your senses. Put your awareness, your magnifying glass. Show your attention to whatever part of your body that you want at any given time. It can be a small part. It can be listening to a sensation. Do you feel any vibrations? Do you feel any tension? That's usually a huge one. That will snap me right out. If I just become aware and I go, stop everything right now, drop and give me 20. Right now, stop, listen to your breath, listen to your heartbeat. Is it racing? Does your heart always race like that? Listen to your breath. Has it always been shallow like that? Are we spending all of our mind's time concept into paying attention to our bodies? No, we haven't, have we? We haven't been paying attention. We need to start paying attention more. And our body's been sending us all of these signals. Awareness is kind of like a parent, really. It's like a really much more aware, mature form or entity. Awareness seems to be like kind of like a parent when you were a child. Just they snap their fingers, they clap their hands, bang. I'm aware of you now. I'm aware of what you've been up to. I'm aware of you being just playing and not listening to other things, not listening to me, not listening to another commanding voice. I am your elder. I know more. You are of me. I'm saying, stop what you're doing and listen. Open your eyes. Think. Remember. What is it that I've been trying to tell you? What is it that I have been telling you with authority? But you've been drowning that out somehow. You've been off playing too much in your mind and in your ego. No more of that. Now it's time to be here in the present moment inside your body. Nothing else matters. Boom. And it's that kind of authoritative character that I want you to try and channel. And it can be based on someone in your past, or it can be entirely fictional. And I want you to give that character to awareness if that's what works for you. If you respond well to that. Or you can characterize it as something else. But awareness is taking on that kind of characterization, if not awareness, it's going to be that of high. And I've given Grace that kind of characteristic, that she's my older sister in the story of Resource. And so Grace could be that older sister to Ego, who's just a little child, really. So that could work as a way for me personally to give a voice, give a character, give a person an image in my head of someone going, okay, enough's enough. We need to do this now. Because it helps really lock in this narrative, this story, and helps me jump back into this narrative whenever I'm in a higher state. I'm attuned to high more. High steps in and takes control and is able to have more of a connection with awareness to go, stop that, listen to that, watch that, do this, pay attention. It's basically always saying to me anyway, pay attention. And so your attention can be on the body. And you could realize that you could step into your body at any moment throughout any day. You don't need to attune to a higher state to do that. But it helps to just, force yourself to. And when you do, it's like, it's such a playground. It's such a wonderland. Your body is a wonderland. When you really feel all the weird sensations all the time. And it helps to stand still and really just listen, because if you're not practiced in listening to your body and getting into your body, then do what it takes. But when you do get used to it, you're able to just jump right in and start playing again. And it's very entertaining to just listen to your body and be in it, feel all these things, and then carry that kind of level of awareness throughout your daily life when you know that you're just going to be controlled again, taken over by ego and taken over by the mind. And then those aspects are just more dominant because it's habitual. We can't always be aware of the various aspects and be living our lives in the other various aspects. Because body doesn't care about time. Body is just body. And if you neglect body, then, you get what you pay for. And if you didn't pay for anything, if you didn't give it the attention that it needed all along your life, all along body's existence, then you get what you pay for. And we are a byproduct of what we feed ourselves. And if we feed our mind self just information, knowledge, then we will live more of the aspect of the mind. But if we feed our body by listening to it, by stepping into our body and listening to it more like on a constant basis, on a constant underlying, like fundamental, not letting your mind race away, stop all frequently, all the time, listen to your body. And at first it's very, very conscious because we're not used to that. But then later on, it does that background awareness of your body. It allows the notifications, as if on your smartphone, as if conditioned to you by an algorithm, your body will be able to start actually being heard by you, your greater awareness, because you've allowed more attention to it. You've kept the door open, the channel open. You've created a channel, or rather re-established a channel by listening and going, oh, I'm so sorry I've neglected you all this time. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. You've been hungry. You've been telling me that you're hungry. Oh, I know. I'm sorry. And then once you like apologize to your body for not listening, then your body is like, yeah, damn right, I've been so hungry. And it's like you're having a conversation with your body. It really is. When you step into your body, your level of awareness can create almost like a conversation, because your body is still an aspect that is wanting to communicate. It has needs as well. All of your aspects have their needs. It's just we're living in this physical space where our body is of priority, and we forget about that. So, yeah, you listen to your body, you feel when you're hungry, and you feel when you're not hungry. Don't listen to the pattern that you've set yourself via the mind, via a day cycle, via breaking it up into meal times. That's a habit. That's a structure that we subscribe to just because we're so dominated in the time verse, right? In the aspects of the mind. That's why the whole lives, all of this is because we were grown up in the world of the ego and the mind. This is the world that we've built ourselves. Everything around us is an extension of the world within us, and we live in our minds and our egos predominantly. So it's no wonder that we have evolved to not be so conscious in our bodies, because if we had, I'm sure we would still be much like the Aborigines, the native people. I'm sure they've been having more of a balance and not letting the aspect of ego be so dominant within their culture. I'm sure that they spend a great deal of time in the aspects of the body and in the aspects of high potentially, and living much more peacefully because they're not so dominated by ego and competition. They're more about survival, and they're more about feeling the now. They don't have the concepts of time like we do. That not so much that it drives them to insanity. No, it's more about survival. It's more about comfort. It's more about knowing what the weather's going to be like and what the temperature is going to be like for your comfort, because they're so much more in their bodies because they're in the elements. They're not, they're just going to be listening to their bodies and thinking about comfort, and it doesn't need much. Your body doesn't need much. And for your body to be satisfied, it needs comforts and needs attention, it needs awareness, so that you're not completely becoming blinded and deaf to what your body is trying to communicate to you all the time. As long as you live in the aspect of your body a lot more, and I'm talking to us now, egocentric, mind thinkers, me included, absolutely. If I want to share my level of awareness with various other aspects that I deem are going to be healthy for me, there is no more true thing than just listening to your body. Because if you think that you're in this ego experience and you go, I am, and then people say, okay, this thing, this physical entity, this person, this human being, this body in front of me, and if you look at some other person, you go, well, that's one person, that's one identity. The ego and the body are the same, and the mind is the same. It's all one unit. It's all, what are you talking about? Wrong. Well, correct, but wrong too. it depends on your perspective. If you break apart something and you know, dissect it into different sections, you can identify that with the mind and you can scrutinize it. But ultimately, it's all one. It's all one and the same, but it can be separate. And through your level of awareness, you can see where in that perspective do you lay? Do you stand? Do you position yourself in the microscopic details of life and trying to verify everything as fact and, give structure and build? You're just building your knowledge base and creating all of these facts and creating all of these like structured truths to try and organize your thoughts, try and organize a concept. Because I'm building all of that as well as speaking. And this is what the conflict is. As I'm trying to have a tuning to high, I'm trying to have a stream of consciousness, because that's where the beauty lies. The real beauty and truths come from this tantalizing what if kind of voice. What if the optimist, the creator, the genius behind your thought forms? It's inspiration. And inspiration is able to speak to you through your mind, through your thoughts. And it's able to give you tantalizing hints of truths if you seek that, because the mind is so hungry to understand everything and give everything meaning. That's another huge thing that the mind is a part of. The ego and the mind working together. All of mankind has been so caught up in trying to find meaning in everything. And I think meaning is just another like thirst of only one of our aspects. And I think it's of the mind. Because the mind just has to understand stuff. That's its job. And yet, speaking like this, it's a stark reminder now to me that that's just proof that the world that we live in is so dominated by the mind and the ego. And that's the world that we've made. It's an extension of how we live inside. What we pay attention to, what we give focus to, our level of awareness, our being is of these two aspects. And these two aspects are just part of a spectrum. We have other aspects of ourselves, of our levels of awareness. We can play different games. We can play different experiences. We can add them in, and then we can put them all together and have such more of a rich and fulfilling game experience. It's like a whole new level has been unlocked, and it's in the same game that you've been playing all along. You've been building this character, this avatar. Mine's called Mark, and Mark's going around and trying to feel good about himself. And Mark's been having these like really cool experiences, and Mark's just trying to communicate to the powers that be, to the other like godlike entities that are the aspects of self. And they basically command and control us, And it's a snake trying to eat itself. It's a full circle kind of experience that one keeps going into itself and feeding the other and multiplying and communicating. And it's through these various like hypnotic almost patterns that we start to see, where the more levels of awareness that we achieve, the more we realize that everything's connected. It's all just like one big machine. And the more levels that you unlock through awareness, through refocusing your attention, and you be present outside of the time, you be present in the now. And in the now is more where the body lives, because it's timeless. You have quietened the mind, you've stepped out of that aspect, and you've stepped out of your ego, and you don't let them bang on the door anymore. That voice of authority, that willful consciousness, an awareness, whatever character you need that to be, it steps in and it goes, no, you two, go to your rooms. You know? Shut up. Actually, go to different rooms. You can't work together anymore. Silence. Just block them out. And you listen to the now. And you flow back into that level of awareness and understanding to the best of your capabilities. Your conscious capabilities, anyway. And you remind yourself, none of that matters. That's all a construct. Every freaking thing is a construct. What truths do we have? What truths are we underneath all of that structure, all of those thought forms? What are the truths? What are the constants? What is right now? There is sound. There is thumping. There is expansion and contraction. There is tension. There is misalignment. There is aching. There is tightness. There is tiredness. There is warmth. There's sensation, physical sensation, vibrational, energetic. There's mood. There's mood. There's choice of mood. There's choice of mood because the mind has been sent away. And now there's not a thought that tells you how you're feeling. Your body tells you how you are actually feeling. And right here, right now, in your body, how are you feeling? What are you feeling? I think that question should be asked more. If how are you feeling has been commandeered as a phrase by ego and mind, and if we remind ourselves just through restructuring language, if we want to ask people how their bodies are feeling, to remind them to step into that aspect and not neglect their body as a key aspect of themselves, not neglect, not be deaf to. If we remind each other, what are you feeling, or where are you feeling? Where? Like where in your body? Where in your level of awareness? Where are you feeling? Where are you living? Where are you staying? Where are you? Where are you in your aspects, in your attention? If you spend some time, more time, in your body, I believe you'll listen and understand and hear a lot more truths in just your body than you will find anywhere else out in the world. And I think it can really start sharing with you much deeper truths of existence itself. Anything. It's just truths won't be told by being bullied by the ego and by being analyzed by the mind. Higher truths, universal genius, kind of in nature, cannot be analyzed, cannot be defined, cannot be fully understood by being either controlled or manipulated or tried to be captured, tried to be what we see as understood, because we're still using this analog thing. Our brains, it's just an organ, it's just this biological piece of hardware, and our thoughts are just these tools of our mind aspects. I mean, they're just parts of us. And if through our powers of awareness are able to identify, the mind, you're right, the mind has figured out so many things, so many patterns, and so many truths and facts and knowledge. It's very intelligent. Well done. The mind has been incredibly useful for all of us. We owe our lives to the mind. Ego, however, ego's been a bit mischievous, and ego's always trying to prove themselves and trying to work with the power of the mind to manifest, to understand, to understand itself, to understand where I am separate from everything else. And again, I'm drifting back into that space, trying to figure myself out. Because figuring myself out when I'm not in a higher state, when I'm in a lower frequency state, the state of sobriety, normal, what people consider is natural. Everything is natural. You know, if you believe that we're all one and the same, and everything is an aspect of, a manifestation, a part of God or universal consciousness or whatever labels, whatever you believe in, it's all pretty much saying the same stuff, just in different words, in different concepts. It's all going to the same place. We're all trying to get there. We're all trying to emancipate ourselves from ourselves, self-slavery, self-imprisonment. We imprison ourselves in so many of these things because the mind has strengths and weaknesses. The ego has strengths and weaknesses. And if we let our, let's say, minds run free with unlimited control via the ego, and they're in cahoots, then, it gets really dangerous. It's a runaway train of capitalism and perpetual growth and competition. It's not going to end well. So it helps through the stories, it helps through these narratives to use the powers of our minds and the way we like to understand things, the things that catch our attention and are worthwhile, our focus, right? The food that we are feeding our minds and our egos. It needs to taste nice. It needs to feel like this form of informational nourishment is worth my time, worth my energy, and it's gonna feel good. Because we're all about feel goods. So then, if stories feel good to you, if you are inclined to follow stories, narratives, then this is one really long-winded one. That's why I want to get other people to write it for me and condense it down, make it concise. It's just this form is the long form, the original, raw, authentic, trying to be the closest to a stream of consciousness processed through the mind, put out by my vocal cords, and we'll throw it all out the wall and see what sticks. Verbal. I won't finish that. You get what I mean. We all run away in our minds, and this can be argued as all just mind-driven nonsense. Yeah, maybe. There's always a possibility of anything. It's just it feels way more attuned to a collaboration between higher states trying to communicate, me not listening, me tuning in and going, oh, now I'm listening. Now I'm hearing all of this stuff, and it's overwhelming, and it's mystical, and it's genius, and it feels so true, and it feels so universally correct, and what's right and wrong, and it's an overall love of truth and honesty and justice and moral beliefs. All of that comes into this shining golden yellow light that flows through me, and these are trying to be processed by the mind in order to give a voice, because otherwise it would just be stuck in my mind as thought forms. These other aspects are coming alive, and they're just all trying to communicate to me. And sometimes it's overwhelming, sometimes it's very confusing, sometimes it's difficult to just shut up and listen. Mm-hmm.